Hi guys, I'm here at my favorite coffee shop, just having a coffee on a rainy day here in Dumaguete, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about why foreigners or expats here can't seem to settle in one place. You know, when I first when I was living in the US, I was pretty content being in one place, living in one place, making my life settle down in one city, in one house, in the same job, and I was almost like a creature of habit. You know, it was comfortable for me. And when I moved to the Philippines now, almost 6 years ago, I landed in Cebu City, and I had landed a job. Many of you may not know that, but I worked at a English language school, and we had like over 1,000 teachers. I was in charge of writing curriculum. I was in charge of proofreading, training Filipino teachers in pronunciation, and I worked that job for a little over 2 years. And I found myself really restless. And when I first came here, I told myself, this is where I'm going to stay, and I'll work and live until I'm maybe age 62 or so, you know, until Social Security or my 401k kicked in at 59 and a half. But it was not to be. I got really restless. Even though the job, I enjoyed it immensely. I had a lot of friends, and it really gave me a totally different perspective than a lot of foreigners have, because I was working and living and everything with Filipinos, which was very different than a lot of people out here who come out here and they retire. So anyway, when I got to the 2-year mark, and I just started really feeling restless, and I told myself, you know, I had traveled a little bit. I traveled to different cities, and at first I thought, well, maybe I'll move to just a different city. But I had ended up replacing my income and was solely teaching online at that point, once I had transitioned out of that school that I worked at. But after some thought, I decided, let me go try Vietnam for 6 months. Well, I didn't really have a time frame. I decided, let me try Vietnam. I went to Vietnam. I really liked Vietnam a lot. The dating and the language barrier was a problem. I wish I would have had these time kettle translation earbuds when I was living there. They would have came in handy. But even there, at the 6-month mark, I started to become restless again. And I don't know what caused it, because technically, I was happy. I was working. I was teaching English. I loved my apartment. I loved all the places around. I had a nice little routine going. I had a motorbike. Life was good. And I thought this was just me for the longest time, but it really turns out that there's a lot of foreigners that actually have this problem. They seem to get bored. Or maybe not bored, or restless. I'm not sure why. And it seems to happen a lot more for us ex-military guys. Maybe because we're just so used to moving around, picking up and going and leaving friends behind and going on to a new duty station. I don't know. But like my buddy Phil, he's decided he doesn't want to live in Dumaguete anymore. He's going to go to Palawan. And he hasn't even been there yet, but he's decided he's going to move to Palawan. And his first visit, he was actually staying and living in Bohol, and now Dumaguete, and now Palawan. And this seems to be very common with a lot of foreigners. Even just locally here, sometimes, like I'll have good friends that they've lived in Valencia. They're happy, they like their location, and the next time I see them around, they are now living in Bacong, or they've moved into Dumaguete City, or they've decided to go move to Siquijor or into Cebu. Good buddy of mine, Sean, we were living here. We were both happy here. I went to Cebu, and he actually went to Cebu himself, like I think 6 months later, 3 months later. Ended up coming back here, as did I. I had went from Cebu to Davao and back to here. So I'm just curious, and I'd like to hear everybody's opinion. Why is it that when we live overseas that we seem to get restless so easy? Because in the States, I was okay with just having that routine, working the same job, going to the same coffee shop. And here, I just don't know why, but I get restless and I feel like I've got to move. I've got to go. Now, luckily, I'm in a relationship with a girl who loves to travel and is very open about these things. She's got a passport. She's very open-minded about our future and where we could possibly live. Advantages now would be that her family is here, so her daughter has her family here that she can go stay with. If we go away for a weekend, she goes and stays with grandma, so it's very convenient. But at some point, we may consider moving to Malaysia part-time, moving to Vietnam, or moving to Thailand, or maybe once a year we will just hop around Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, and at some point we've even discussed maybe we'll head out to Central America. Maybe we'll go to Europe at some point. So it's also good to have a Filipina who's got a passport and maybe has been out of the country once or twice, because it makes things a lot easier. But if you haven't, there's ways around that. You can get her out. There's steps you can take, and once she's had one or two visits outside of the country, then it becomes fairly easy. So I really would like to hear your thoughts on this, but maybe, am I the only one? I don't know. I don't know if I'm the only one with this same feeling or what. I wouldn't call it boredom, because I'm not really bored. I have things to do. I've got friends to hang out with. And sometimes when I travel, like if I go someplace else, it actually will make it worse for me. I feel like, oh wow, maybe I should go live here. Life would be amazing. But then often, you get to that place and then you go through the same thing. So I don't know why at this particular stage in my life that I get restless. Again, I think it's very different than boredom, because I'm not really bored. So anyway, I'd like to hear your opinions on it. I don't really have a reason. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm so restless. I don't know why I'm restless here and in the U.S. when I was working and my life was so occupied. Maybe that's the reason that I was so occupied, with working and a routine that I didn't really even have a chance to even get restless. And here, maybe the problem is that I have so much free time that even with my friends and things to do and vlogging and writing my articles on my blog, I still find myself very restless. I don't know. But Maya and I are going to Malaysia very, very shortly. I'll let you guys know the exact date when we get closer to it. We will definitely, our plan is to probably travel internationally every 6 months to a different country. Part of the reason is to avoid the exit clearance here, which I find kind of invasive. There is talk that they will do away with that, and after, not do away with it, but actually they'll make it where if you've stayed more than 30 days in the country, then you'll have to do the exit clearance. So then that would defeat the purpose of leaving every 6 months, then who knows. But 6 months seems to be a good number. We'll try going to different countries. We still have, I would say, about 5 places left to visit here in the Philippines that are high on our list. I can tell you right now, we really want to go to Camigan Island off of Cagayan de Oro in Mindanao. We also want to go to Palawan, El Nido. We want to go to Puerto Princesa in Mindoro, I believe. And we also want to go to La Union for like surfing, and I think we want to hit up the Baguio and Ilocos Norte region as well. So other than that, everything else will be concentrated on international and just small local trips. So anyway, guys, again, I'd like to hear your comments. Am I the only one who just feels restless all the time? I don't know. I'd like to hear your opinions on it. Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.